Speaking of, now, I guess I'm getting ready to make the case for the last caller who said that Donald Trump will eventually suspend the government, institute martial law, and end our democracy. Case in point is Donald Trump's relentless attack not only on the media, not only on the the two other branches, the independence of the other branches of government, but also on truth itself. Like, he is a master of weaseling out of the need for truth, or the need or the ability to be fact checked on the truth. He's a master of that. He's a master of operating in a world that's completely dismissive of actual, tangible, verifiable, and falsifiable evidence. He's a master of that world, and his party, the Republican Party has been perfectly groomed to accept this type of propaganda. We'll talk about the Democrats' propensity likewise at another time. But I want to pull up a tweet by Donald Trump and to demonstrate. And of course, I think anybody who is awake saw this today. It's on your screen. Donald Trump said, "Any negative polls are fake news, just like the CNN, ABC, NBC polls in the election. Sorry, people want border security and extreme vetting." Now, what Donald Trump was referring to here, obviously, are the polls that are coming out showing the disapproval of the American people with regard to his policies in general, specifically this wall that he wants to build, specifically Obamacare. The desire to repeal and replace Obamacare is more popular now. And so this is a negative poll. So he's saying dismiss that, and specifically the ban on refugees coming into America, better known as the Muslim ban. And so he's telling America, or rather he's telling people who are gullible enough to actually believe this, to don't listen to anybody else but dear leader. Listen only to Donald Trump, and don't believe any news outlet. Don't believe any polling. Completely dismiss it, because everything is fake but what I'm saying. This is classic dictator talk. This is classic authoritarianism and totalitarianism. This is classic, and he is a master of it. And actually, no, let me correct. I don't think he's a master of it. I think that the partisan nature of America, the hyper-partisanship of America, has created an environment where people are so willing to believe anything that the person that is quote unquote on their side says. So I don't even think that he is a master of it. He's just he's just willing to do it without any shame. He's willing to do it despite the facts that are looking him dead in the eye, right? And despite the reality that America really is rejecting, despite the fact that he lost by 3 million votes, instead of conceding that fact and accepting the fact that he still won, he has to challenge it by saying, oh yeah, 3 million illegal people voted. Without any evidence, without any claim. This is what he does. This is what he's a master of, not giving a damn about how he looks. And you know what? It works. It works because you cannot prove someone wrong if they completely dismiss or rewrite the idea of what is right, and dismiss and rewrite the idea of what is truth. If they can undermine the very concept of truth, then nothing matters. We're in a post-factual society. We're in a post-truth society. It doesn't, and we've slowly but surely gotten here. America in general has paved the way to Donald Trump, because we've slowly but surely gotten to this point where we will not hold, and the media is complicit in this as well, they will not hold to a notion of a fundamental truth. They will give and pander, they will give voice to and pander differing opinions, right? Because they want to appear as though they're balanced. And in their pursuit to appear that they're balanced, they have undermined the concept that there's fundamental truth. And even if it's not something that we can, because people get philosophical, say, oh, what is truth, right? Well, you know what? We're going to accept this truth. Consensus from our scientific community with regard to climate change, right? If we're going to allow people who are unqualified to make the assertions against scientists, and then allow that opinion to rise to the level of the scientific community, then we have undermined the very notion that there's anything that can be proven true. And the media has done that as well. So what Donald Trump is now doing, he is benefiting off of this position, this position that America has slowly but surely been moving to, where we completely dismiss the idea of truth. And the crown jewel of it, the epitome of it is every side dismissing news that they disagree with as fake news. Trump's side does it, and Hillary Clinton's side, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Hillary Clinton, then their team coined the phrase, or at least weaponized the phrase for the election as a means of justifying how they lost. And here we are, right? Perfect phrase, fake news. Really simple, easy to use. Everybody repeats it. And now we're at the point where the president of the United States is saying that everything that you hear that is negative is fake news. There's no way to prove, right? There's no way to prove to an audience who already has a bias, an implicit bias against any news that is contrary to what they want to happen, right? You can't prove to that type of person that they're wrong. You can't prove to a person who will so easily dismiss the notion of facts. You can't prove them wrong. You can't fact check them. You can't debate them. All we can do is beat them. That's it. And when we beat them, we have to utterly, what did he say about the Johnson Amendment? We have to utterly destroy it. We have to utterly destroy the electoral capacity of people like this, both the individual like Trump, as well as the sycophants who are willing to believe anything so long as it confirms their biases. I keep giving this example, but I'm going to give it one more time. Immediately after election, the election was on Tuesday. On Thursday, after the election, I went to Worcester, Massachusetts, and I debated. You call it a debate. I was at a Tea Party debate, and in the midst of the debate, the most amazing thing happened. I was able to convince all white and angry, not all of them angry, but enough of them were angry, and some of them were angry enough for me to be like, okay, I should have brought something. I felt a little bit unsafe. This is how angry and how white that crowd was. And in that angry white crowd who just won an election, I don't know what the hell they were mad about, but in that angry white crowd, I was able to get them to admit that they were at least willing to side with racism for the sake of getting Donald Trump elected. They conceded that point. What they would not concede was that there was no such thing in any statistical significant way as voter fraud. They would not believe that no matter how much information I gave them. The fact that between 2000 and 2014, I think over 1 billion ballots were counted, and they had less than 30 instances of voter fraud. And they dismissed that so vehemently, so viscerally. They were angry that I would even suggest to them that voter fraud is rarer than the Ebola virus, even though it is. And they all brought these anecdotes that are not even anecdotes. They just made shit up. And they were really fervent and serious about these churches loading up hundreds and thousands of people and taking them precinct by precinct by precinct to vote. And they held on to that, and they would not. I mean, they would, if they were going to lynch me over anything, it wasn't going to be about telling them that they sided with racists. It was going to be over the fact that I told them that voter fraud was not real or was not significant enough to change any election. We're living in a post-factual society. I don't know. What's the best way to say it? You know what I'm trying to say. We're living in a society that completely rejects any notion that there is a verifiable fact if that fact disagrees with their bias. And Donald Trump is the politician that America has been waiting for, because slowly but surely, in this weak, spineless milquetoast attempt to make it look like we're unbiased, the media has given voice to people who have no place asserting their opinion against researched facts. See, I'm even hesitant to say facts because we're so far past that point. But there's no such thing as fact anymore. And we've been building this way. We've been going this way slowly but surely for a long time. And now we've got the politician who has no shame whatsoever. He'll sit on Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly will kind of beat around the bush and kind of softly try to tell him you're lying. And Donald Trump has no shame. No shame. There's no such thing as a lie to Donald Trump, because he doesn't lie, because what he says is truth. That is dangerous. And a person like that being in the most powerful position in the world is even more dangerous. But this is where we are, and this is where we've slowly but surely gotten to.